from my accent that I was not born in Kentucky. But I came to Kentucky in 1991. I'm originally from Panama, the Republic of Panama. Came to study many, many years ago at Michigan State. And my first graduate degree, after my graduate degree, my first job was the University of Louisville. I came to Louisville in 1991 to teach. And because I was a poor professor, and I had a lot of debts in college at the time, I applied to teach in a summer program called Governor Scholars Program. I was assigned that year to a campus called Murray State University. I just knew Kentucky from Louisville as far as Elizabethtown, not beyond here. So when I got to town that day, driving to Murray, I began in that Western Kentucky Parkway. And I drove, and I drove, and I drove. When I got to campus, the campus dean of the Governor Scholars Program welcomed me and says to me, maybe because he saw my face, Aris, it's not the end of the world. And I said, Kent, his name is Kent, it's not the end of the world, but you can see it from here. At the end of 5 weeks, I learned to love the end of the world. And I'm saying that because some of you, next summer, if you're accepted into the Governor Scholars, you will be assigned to Murray State University. That's one of our campuses. Anyway, welcome to all of you from the all Hardin County schools. I do these events 3 per week in September and 3 per week in October. And so this is number 11. This is the middle way, and I have only 10 more, so out of the 21. But it gives me a pleasure to welcome all of you and your parents, because we want to talk to you about the very competitive process to become a 2024 Governor Scholar. You probably know a little bit about the program. One young mother said, I watched you in the videos yesterday, so there are videos about this same presentation tonight. We are going to go through a packet, but I promise that I'm not going to go page by page, because it's a big packet, but you also promise that once you go home and begin your application, if you have not yet, then you are going to look at the samples and examples that you have in this packet. I'll give you today helpful hints and what counts in each of the sections of the application. We'll also talk about home away from home, because some of you may be a little bit apprehensive about the 5 weeks away from home. We'll talk about that. And I also have invited one of my students here from one of my Governor Scholars from this area. She attended the program. She will share with you her own experience in a few minutes. On page number 1, at the top of page number 1, you have the criteria of eligibility. You are a junior in a Kentucky school. We also accept homeschools in case you know of somebody who is homeschooled and is not invited. It's because we don't have their names. Your names were shared with us by your counselors, and so we know you are well qualified to apply. You also return to a Kentucky school for your senior year. That is not to penalize those who want to skip senior year. It's because if you go to the Governor Scholars Program and you complete the program at the end of 5 weeks, with your permission, we give your names to Kentucky's colleges and universities for scholarships. You can check the scholarships on our website. But if you skipped your senior year, they don't allow that money to go to you, because that money, by the time you complete the GSP, is already gone. So you have to wait 1 year, and that's why we require that you attend your senior year. You must be resident of Kentucky. That rule applies with one exception or two exceptions in the whole state. If you attend Fort Knox or Fort Campbell high schools, we understand the circumstances. You can talk to us about that, and we'll tell you exactly what the difference is for you, Fort Knox or Fort Campbell. And you must have an ACT, PSAT, or SAT score. If you don't have one right now, you need to check with the right person in your high school to see when the next time is offered, okay? Because some schools offer those in the schools, and they can also tell you when to register for before the application is due. The selection process begins in your high school, and so you need to check for deadlines. I'll give you some deadlines here, but not related to your school. Each school or school district will have a specific deadline for you. So you need to work with them and ask that question. At the bottom of page number 2, you have a framed information. It does tell you that if you apply and you're accepted, and in turn you accept our invitation to come to the GSP, you will be assigned to one of our 3 sites. Next summer, those sites are Center College in Danville, Murray State University, remember the end of the world in Murray, and Morehead State University for some of you, also the other end of the world in Eastern Kentucky in the city of Morehead. You will be assigned to one of those campuses, and you are there for 5 weeks, and the commitment is 5 weeks. It happens that you bring mom and dad, you bring your precious child, your precious daughter, your handsome son on opening day, and you leave them in our able hands, and you return home crying a little bit because you're happy and proud. And so 2 weeks later, you return to campus and visit with them for a family day, not overnight, just family day. And then you return home crying a little bit less because now you know that they are doing well. 3 weeks later, you come back for graduation. They cry. And then they will tell you, Mom, I love you very much, but I don't want to go home. Dad, I love you extremely, a lot, Dad, but can I stay? No. After 5 weeks with them, and they are wonderful. I'm going to tell you that they're wonderful. But they are 17 years of age. You know, we, the staff, we stay on campuses. Our faculty members, we create a community on campuses. And so at the end of 5 weeks, take them home. We love them, we'll hug them, but take them home, please. Anyway, you will see tonight my passion about the program. I even resigned 13 years ago my tenure position at the University of Louisville to do this full time. And I don't have tenure, and I'm not a state employee, and the Governor's Scholars Program is not a state agency. We receive state funding, yes. But I sacrifice all those tenure positions at U of L to do this because of the pleasure I receive from working with young, bright minds like yours. But don't listen to me only. You are going to listen to other seniors in your high school who attended the program in 2023. You are also going to talk to other parents who allowed their sons and daughters to go to the GSP so that you gain a better sense of what the program is all about. But I have invited Ava, who is here to talk to you about her own experience. We have many other students in the district here that attended the program this past year, but the one speaking tonight is Ava Addington. Ava is from Elizabethtown High School. She was assigned to the GSP at Central College, and she majored, her focus area of studies was dramatic expression. So please welcome Ava Addington. And when you finish, don't go. Stay there.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Ava Addington, and I have the honor of attending GSP this past summer at Center College in Danville. Now, I don't mean to sound cliche, but GSP was unlike any life experience I have ever had. Not only was I getting a taste of what the college experience is going to be like, but I ended up participating in unique lessons in regards to what it means to be a lifelong learner. Around a year ago, I was putting together my student profile for the application. And yes, I absolutely had doubts about my qualifications to be a Governor's Scholar. I was comparing myself to classmates that were also applying, and I let the competitiveness of this extensive process get to my head. But I knew I wanted it. I wanted to prove to specifically myself that I had the capability. I included everything in life that I was passionate about, and anything which I benefited from as a person. See, one of the most important things about the application process is not just telling what you have been involved in, but how you were involved and what you learned from it. This aspect of thinking is also heavily involved within the GSP experience, as you will take your own personal skills and apply them to learning new ones. Now, a little bit about GSP. To me, there are endless factors of the experience as a whole, but I want to elaborate on some of them. You will attend 3 classes, and I promise it's not like summer school. One of these classes, your focus area, is one where you select the class and you rank 3 of the options from the application of your choosing. For this focus area, it doesn't even have to fall within your future career. For example, my focus area was dramatic expression, and even though I'm most likely not majoring in theater, learning about theater techniques, visiting a Shakespeare amphitheater, and talking with directors and working with other scholars of all skill levels allowed me to live that experience to the fullest I could. Another event that was underrated was the showcase performances on Friday nights. These were talent shows, if you will. Now, even though I enjoy singing, I do not like to in front of people, especially in large groups, but once I got on stage and started singing, something just clicked, and people will cheer you on like there's no tomorrow. First comes courage, then you can say, I did that. Another event that was, oh God, I said that, oh my gosh. It's perfectly reasonable to be like, I don't think I can be away from home for 5 weeks. Parents may be having similar thoughts. The best advice I can give is, if you plan on attending a university after high school, GSP is more beneficial to you than you think. You will live in a dorm and have a roommate, as well as living near other people within a hall. I became very close with the girls in my hall through mutual interests and having just rants about life while sharing a Kroger ice cream cake. Dorm life also teaches you responsibility for yourself and others. And we all make mistakes, as a girl in my dorm forgot to put water in her microwave unicorn mac and cheese, and it called for a dorm evacuation. The whole dorm comforted this girl in her embarrassment, but it was also something the entire campus bonded over for weeks. It is a true gift for Kentucky high schoolers to have this opportunity to participate in programs like GSP. It is through the advocacy of legislators, donors, and board members that GSP is approaching a long time in existence. I, as an alum, wish to advocate for this beautiful environment in the future because it benefits students' lives in some way, shape, or form. One piece of advice that I think about constantly is what my program director told us. And this applies to every person on this earth, not just the scholars. It's okay to be a beginner. You don't need to know all the answers. You don't need to aspire to be perfect. If you still have hesitations about applying to GSP, what do you have to lose to try? You may never know what you could be a part of. It's an opportunity waiting for you. I wish all of the applicants well on this journey. Thank you so much and have a good evening.
Thank you. No? Stay here. Thank you, Ava. Two things here. First of all, I'm going to recognize you with a certificate from the GSP as a Governor Scholar Community Ambassador. Ava Addington.
Thank you so much.
Stay here. Now, come to the center because I have a couple of questions for you. And don't be embarrassed if you don't have the answer for this. They do it better than me. How much did you pay to get into the GSP?
None.
It is free of charge, and it is. Number two, you know that the application process, and I'm going to explain to you all this, is based on 100 points. What was your score?
I have no idea.
That's the correct answer. Thank you. Thank you, Ava. Thank you very much. And you can go home. You can. You're welcome to stay, but I know you also have homework, so please, at the time you need to go, you feel free. Well, you got the answers from Ava here. The program is free of charge. Many people will tell you in America there is no free lunch. But this program is truly free, meaning taxpayers pay for that. That's correct. You apply, and the application is the passport to get in. A few years ago, on one of the campuses on opening day, I was talking to the parents. While the students were moving into the dorms, I was talking to the parents. And one father raised the hand and says, Aris, how's the food? I had the answer, and I waited 3 seconds, and I said, thank you for the best question tonight, but the food is free. And and it's true, the food is free, but keep in mind that that in many cases you will have other opportunities to eat, not only in the cafeteria all the time. Ava knows that. But let's talk about some things here. On pages 3, 4, and 5, you have the statement of curriculum. You have the 25 different subjects that we offer. Not all subjects are offered on the 3 campuses. Sometimes they're offered only on one campus, sometimes on 2 campuses. We don't know that yet, where. But it depends on the number of students who request those sections. I'm going to invite all of you, when you go to our website, when you look at the website, write the first drop box on the left, says about. If you drop about, and there is an academic report, there are many academic reports over the years. Those contain what each class offers every year. And the subjects change, but it'll give you an idea so that you can check 3. You mark 3 of those subjects, you don't rank them. And a big advice for you, don't ask your best friend who is also applying, what are you doing? Let's go together. It's not going to happen. We make you may be on the same campus though, but not in the same class. The other example was if you participate in a mission trip, and those mission trips happen to be probably late May, early June, you can request session number 2 or session number 3. What cannot happen is for you to arrive late or depart earlier. The commitment is for 5 weeks, and we need to honor that commitment, especially because after we select the 1,050 students to attend the program, we do have a good number of alternates. And this year we selected 1,050 students, and we put on the waiting list 290. And so any of those 290 can come for the 5 weeks. And honoring that waiting list, we will not allow anybody to arrive late or depart early. You make a commitment for 5 weeks. On page number 7, you have the breakdown of the 100 points. 30 points for your academic achievement. You can see that grade point average, 15, 10 for ACT or PSAT, SAT, and 5 for the difficulty of course load as assessed by the counselor of the school. In your hands, young men and women of future governor scholars. Now the following sections are in your hands. 10 points for extracurriculars, 10 points for service, 10 points for honors awards, 20 points for writing entry. Those 50 points are in your hands. And then 2 letters of recommendation, and we'll talk in the next few minutes, we'll begin talking about each of those sections briefly. I'm going to advise this. Counting, I'm going to use the deadline of the public schools here, 17th of November. That means a month and a half and a few more, maybe about a month and a half. From yesterday, a month and a half, that's correct. A month and a half, you need to begin now. If you have not begun yet, begin now. Give yourself 5 days to write the draft of the extracurriculars. Don't tackle all the sections at the same time. Do 5 days and create that schedule for yourself. And then 5 days for service, and 5 days for the honors, 5 days for the writing entry. That's 20 days already. Give yourself at least 5 to 10 days for revisions. That's a month. And you still have time to go back and rewrite and consult with others, okay? So make sure that you create your own schedule. It's not an easy application. I'm not telling you it's easy, it's long. And what you are also doing, consider this, is writing your college application. Because a year from now, you will be using the same format and the same information that you used this year, okay? So, but don't do what a young student who was not accepted did. A father called me shortly after the acceptance letters for 2023 were sent in April. And the father says, my daughter did not make it out of the school. And I said, well, I don't have the application. I don't see what to do. I don't enter into the school selection. And he said, what happens is I want you to advise us to see if the school did the right thing. And I said, in that terms, I agreed. Send me the application. I am a professor of literary studies. I do a lot of reading, writing, and I love red pen. So when I got the application, I got my red pen, and I didn't have to go beyond the first page. Because at the end of the first page, every time I had to circle a mistake, it looked like a Christmas tree at the bottom. When I finished the first page, it looked like a Christmas tree with all these little circles in red. And so I didn't go beyond that. I went and met with the father, put the application on the table, and the father looked at the first page, and he says, I see. And I say, that's it. Your daughter has done everything, but it's not enough having done things, it's how you present yourself. And when we went through the application, I said, look at extracurriculars, great explanations. Next section, look at service, short explanations. She didn't give herself enough time. Look at honors, listing only, no explanations. And you realize that that young lady did the honors section the night before. And that's exactly what you need not to do, because it's guaranteed that you're not going to move forward. On page 10, you have the actual scores. actual points you're getting for your PSAT, SAT, PSAT, whatever, ACT, and your GPA. And some of you are losing points. Remember what Ava said before. What's your score, Ava? And she says, I don't know. You're not going to know your score because the score is not the important thing. But I'm going to tell you from experience that even though the score, the highest score that you can get is 100, and that's what you are going to aim at, don't do that in here. The highest score ever in 41 summers, you will be members of the 42nd generation. In 41 summers, the highest score was 87. And the lowest to get in, which happens every year, is 73. So if you are at 73 or above, you're in automatically, I can tell you right now. It doesn't change every year. One more, one less, but it's never below, 73 is in. What happens is this: when you apply to college, of those mom and dad, when you went to college, you apply, you understand this. If you are an A student, you are up here and you get all the scholarships. If you are a B student, you are here and you get some scholarship. If you are a C student, you are down here and you get no scholarship. And if you are a D student, you are down here and you get conditional. And that's what it happens, it's vertical. In the GSP, there is no B students, or C, or D. Everybody's over here. And so the competition is horizontal rather than vertical. Everybody's here. And how the judges are going to make a difference? In the descriptions, not listing, in the descriptions. And you follow the instructions and all that. And so remember that. Let's talk about section number, extracurriculars, whatever section number is that. Pages 13 to 18, you have a section with samples, examples, and so on to help you brainstorm for extracurriculars. Let me tell you how we define extracurricular activities. Anything that you do outside your classroom contact hours. It could be related to school or to the community. Don't skip anything, please. Don't skip anything. We want to see holistically who you are. Say everything. If you have doubts, when you have doubts, if it counts or it doesn't count, don't you judge. Just let the judges determine that, because our judges are instructed not to take points off if it doesn't count. If it doesn't count, our judges will simply ignore them. So that means you say everything. And remember everything. And this is when mom and dad can help. Don't do what that father did, with the Christmas tree application. The father said to me, I give my daughter her independence. Absolutely beautiful. But don't do that, young men and women, future governor scholars. Allow mom and dad to at least remind you with what you have done. Mom and dad have been driving you around to every event. They sit in the audience. They clap for you. They take the pictures. They remember, and you don't. Okay? So, mom and dad promise you are going to say, do you do that? And you, young men and women, are going to say, yes, mom, I did. No, dad, I not, but I will. Okay? So remember that. The time frame is 9th, 10th, and 11th grade for all these sections. However, there is a flexibility in the time frame. This summer before your 9th grade counts. That summer for you was 2021. Some of us were out and about. Some of you were still locked in at home, okay? So it depends on what your choice was at the time. But the summer of 2021, many of you were still not working full-time. Many of you were not attending full-time school and all that. Things like that happened at that time, the pandemic. And so that summer counts. Anything you did that summer, it counts. There will be activities that you are still doing in 9th, 10th, or 11th that you began earlier in your school. If you are marching band and you began marching band when you were in middle school, then that counts. From the beginning, it counts. And you need to say, so we can see the scope, the whole scope. What doesn't count is anything that you did before 9th grade and you are not doing it anymore in 9th, 10th, or 11th. If you stop before 9th, it doesn't count, okay? On pages 19 to 23, you have one section called service. Service is anything that you do to help others. Whether you do it voluntarily or you are paid for that. If you are babysitter at home, mom and dad may not pay you for that. But that's a great service to the family. But you may also do babysitting for the neighbors and you're paid for that. Remember, we want to see the whole you. So don't keep anything, even if you think it's just this much. If you feel that you don't have enough in this section, you are still in time. Halloween is coming around, Thanksgiving. Begin organizing or joining some church organizations or community groups that do activities to serve others in Halloween or especially Thanksgiving. You like animals, volunteer at a local animal shelter, clinics that work with animals. So do something if you believe you don't have enough. My take is you do. Many young men and women during the pandemic years help us, the adults, with computer skills that we didn't know how to do. I remember my nephew, I called my nephew and said, I'm at a restaurant and I need to do like a QR thing and I just don't know how to order because it's a QR. What do I do? And he said, Uncle, this is what you do. Well, isn't that a great service? And that, it's character. So don't think that anything is too small that it doesn't count, or is too big that it's going to cover everything now. Put everything there. And you can see the examples in the sections. On pages 24 to 27, you have a section called Honors and Awards. Definitions. Awards are those recognitions for which you have a concrete evidence. You have a trophy, you have a letter, you have a diploma, you have a certificate. You can demonstrate that you were recognized. That is an award. But many times, because of the nature of who you are, people ask you to do things without recognizing you concretely. But you have been chosen to do that. I'll give you examples, and those are considered honors. The principal of your high school says, I would like for you to represent the school at the town hall meeting. I would like for you to be to introduce our big, convocation speaker for this Friday. I would like for you to do this and that. or somebody would say, I would like for you to sing the national anthem at the football game, or something like that. In those cases, when you finish doing what you were asked to do, you get the applause, a shake, they shake the hands with you, but that's it. And a thank you, maybe. But remember, you were chosen. And you were chosen because you were the good one for that. And that is an honor. So the words to remember what counts as an honor or award is, you were chosen, selected, or elected. You were chosen, selected, or elected. You will see, at sometimes when you're writing this application, you will ask your mother, your teachers, your counselors, do you think this counts as an extracurricular or service? Well, that means you need to repeat. There are activities that you do that counts 3 times. And I'll give you examples. And you need to repeat, not copy and paste, because the instructions are different, but to repeat. And also considering that the judges at the state level don't see the entire application. They only see one section. So you want them to know all that you do. Examples of when you have to repeat. Let's assume that your teacher, AP or advanced teacher in biology, mathematics, foreign languages, English, says, you are my best student. Would you mind helping me tutor the freshman class that is struggling with biology and mathematics and so on? And you do that. There are 3 things there. Number 1, you were chosen by that teacher. That is an honor. Number 2, you were tutoring outside, most likely outside your classroom contact hours. And that is activities. And number 3, by doing the tutoring, you are doing a service to the young students. So it's 3 in 1. Another example, many of you are members of teams and organizations on campus. Academic team, quick recall, mock trial, all the sports, marching band, newspaper, you name it. As a member of that team and organization, you have an activity. Sometimes that team or organization does fundraising to benefit a cause. Some teams collect cans of food to do a service to a community. That's the service. And it so happens that you have been chosen, selected, or elected captain of the team, president of the organization, editor of the newspaper. That is the honor. Again, one more example. If the minister or the priest or the pastor of your of your church, maybe some schools have that, ministers of your church, says, I would like for you to help me revamp and reorganize Sunday school. And you do that. And you teach Sunday school. You were chosen by the minister or the pastor. You did the activity by reorganizing or revamping the Sunday school. And you teach Sunday school, service, honor, and activity. Again. So remember not to copy and paste, but to repeat. That's very important. On pages 28 to 31, you have one section called writing entry. 20 points. 20 points. And remember, 2 points of those 20 are just for double space. And you have no idea how many students lose 2 points. Those are free 2 points. And those 2 points may be the difference getting in or not. So please remember to follow the instructions. I know there is a lot to follow, all those different instructions. But I have to remind everyone the type of competition it is. If you are the best, and certainly you are, and my conviction is that you are, but the best is not a title. The best is demonstrated in your work. Okay. Writing entry on page 28, you have the general instructions. On page 29, you have the very detailed guidelines that the judges follow. On page 30, you have the specific instructions. And on page 31, you have the actual 6 prompts for this competition, and you will choose one of those 6. You read the prompt that you choose, and I'm going to give you a few hints. Once you select your preferred prompt, you are not going to treat this as a college or high school research paper. Because if you do so, which is absolutely fine, but if you do so, you are not unique. Many other people can do that. What you need to focus in this writing entry is something that is unique to you. Write your own story. A scholar, an applicant the other day had the question, does the story have to be true? And I said, no, nobody's going to check that true, or I'm going to call you and say, you need to certify that it's true. No, it's just your writing. Write your own story. Make it unique to you. A few years ago, we had a prompt about curiosity. And you have no idea how many students that chose that prompt began by saying, the Webster Dictionary says that curiosity is, and it was 25 to 30 wasted words, not wrong words, wasted because everybody else did the same thing. How does a judge make a difference? Just think about that. On the other hand, there was one student who said, I have heard many times the adage about the curiosity killed the cat, and I am a true witness of that because my cat named this, does this, and the whole essay or writing entry was about a cat named X. I don't remember what name was it. Unique. The judges loved that. Unique. Unique. And that's what you need to do, making sure that your message is unique. Now, I advise that you, before you turn in this to your counselors or the school, you get at least 2 proofreaders. 1 professional, and that doesn't mean money. That means somebody who does that for a living. I am a professional proofreader because that's what I do for a living. That's my profession. Your English teachers are. But we have a problem. We, the professional proofreaders, also have a problem. We are not perfect. We focus too much on those things that you hate to love in English. Punctuation, indentation, grammar, syntax, paragraph transition, and things that you have never heard of, and that we in the conversation never cared for. But we do, the professional readers, right? Now, you also need somebody like my grandmother. My grandmother was my proofreader when I was in high school. And she will say, I don't get what you mean here. And I said, grandmother, but look. And she said, I don't get it. And if I don't get the message, the readers are not going to get the message either. So you need somebody that is not professional, but reads for pleasure. Because those readers read for content and message. They want to know. And if they get lost into the message, they put you aside, right? So remember that. Keep in mind spelling, please. Keep in mind that the word you still spells Y-O-U, not you in the text, in texting, you know. So we'll talk about that too. The last two sections that you have are the teacher recommendation and community recommendations. And you have the samples and so on pages 32 to 37, teacher recommendation, 38 to 43, community recommendation. Let's talk about the recommendations. You know who your teacher is going to be. And the teacher recommendation is there for them to write about the applicant as a student. That is one side of who you are. You are not only a student, you are a student, but you are a citizen of a community. So the second letter, the community recommendation, is going to be about you, the applicant, as a member of a community with leadership abilities or potential leadership abilities. You as an individual, you as a participant in many activities in the community, you as a person who does a lot of service to that community as well. So the community recommender needs to be somebody who knows you well. Don't go for a title. Many of my friends in Frankfurt, and among the legislators, will call me and say, hey, Reese, what do I do? I have a constituent who is calling me because I'm the senator of that district to write about a letter, but I know the father or the mother. I don't know the kid. And I said, very respectfully, tell them no. And then they don't want to do that because you're a constituency. You know? Don't go for titles unless the mayor knows you well, then the mayor is not a good recommender for you. Unless the senator or the or any, you know, the district judge or something knows you well, don't go for them. They need to go to know you well. It could be a neighbor of yourself. It could be somebody at church. And if you work, it could be somebody at work. So make sure that you find somebody that knows you well. The most common question about community recommender is this. And constantly the counselors call us with this question: can a coach or the ROCT person do this? I'm not going to say no. Your coach, band director, team coach knows you well, certainly. But they most likely know you well within the context of the school. And they most likely know you well as a student in all those activities. And if the letter, even as well written as it could be, is about you as a student, it will not be good for you, okay? So I would say, I wouldn't say no to a coach or an ROCT person. If the coach is from the outside of the school, fine. But if it's within the school, you have to make sure that you explain to them that it's not about you as a student. Okay? And we do get these questions all the time because, you know, the coaches take it personally, and that's not really what we want them to feel that way, because they write good letters, but they don't do you a favor by writing about you as a student. How you are going to request the letters. This is my last hint for this section. I have written many letters in my life, and I have come to understand two ways of requesting letters. Student A comes to see me in the hall or in my classroom or in my office and says, "Hey, Aris, I would like for you to recommend me to this program." And I will say, "Absolutely, you are a great student. I'd love to do that." The student says, "I went to the website of the program and printed for you these few paragraphs here that tell you what they are looking for. So you can focus your letter about me on this. I know you know me because I was your student 2 years ago, but in the last 2 years, you don't know what I'm doing. So I printed a couple of paragraphs here about my resume, you know, things that I've been doing. And I went to the website, and to be polite with you, Aris, I printed the form. I know you can get it on the website. You know what that student has done. That student has written the letter. I write the letter, certainly, yes. But I have the words and the things in my hands, on the top of my desk. On the other hand, and that student says, "Oh, Aris, by the way, it's due." Today is the 3rd of October, right? Yeah. It's due November 3rd. It's a month. Wow, that's great. Now, on the other hand, you have student B. Student B, in a real story that I'm going to share with you, texted one Monday night to me. I allow my students to text. Young students here, if your teachers don't allow you to text, don't do that. Please, because I don't want them to think that I'm telling you to text. I allow my students to text with one condition: good spelling, question marks, capital letters, and all that. Because otherwise they are not good students for me. Anyway, one Monday night, true story, one Monday night I got a text from a wonderful student, and only one word came through: recommendation. No capital letter and no question mark. And I hesitated, but I said, you know, this is a great student. I trust that the student understands what he's doing. He must be under a lot of stress. So I texted back, and not to embarrass the student, I said when, no capital letter, and no against my own will, and no question marks. And so within 3 minutes, I got a text back. No words back, only 3 crying emojis. And you know that the student is under a lot of stress. So I press more further and say, when? And then he says, tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock. I wrote the letter, and your teachers who love you will. But you are risking a big, bad letter. Because the focus of that letter that I wrote that night was the deadline. I had to complete it before 8 o'clock to have it in his hand or the hand of the committee by 8 o'clock. And the focus was that, so I was rushing through that. I didn't have any document in front of me, working from memory. And so don't do that to anybody, whether for the Governor's Scholars or later for college. You know, so make sure that you begin while you're working in the next month on your own application. Give that month to your recommenders. Those are the points here. We're going to do two more things. We will present all of you for your generosity of coming tonight to hear about the Governor's Scholars with a letter from us recognizing your high achievements and also letting you know that you're well qualified to apply. You already know it, but we want to tell you that in writing and telling you where to go on the website. So if you are here from Fort Knox, line up against that wall, please, from Fort Knox. And if you are here from John Harding, line up on that line, please. We'll recognize you. While they do that, let me recognize a group of young ladies in the back here who are working for you constantly. Give me one name. I will first recognize one, and I will recognize the other ones as the schools come up here. I'm going to recognize Christy. Is Christy in the room? I understand. Christy Wright is the one who every year calls me and says, Arisa, I need you to come here. So you say that to Christy that I recognize. And also I have here the Director of High School Curriculum, Instruction and Assessment, Tanya Jury. Tanya, thank you for being here. Okay, Fort Knox High School. Hold the applause until we recognize the three of them, okay? Remember that the person reading your names is not from Kentucky. High achieving juniors from Fort Knox. Brian Browning, Riley Gallagher, thank you, and Luella Sikorsky. Fort Knox High School. Fort Knox. You can go back. Go back. High achieving juniors from John Harding High School. You can get closer to me, all of you. But I'm going to recognize the counselor of John Harding. You can come, Jane. She's going to take a picture. So I want to recognize the counselor, and that's the person that's going to work with you in your school, Maggie Bogle. Maggie, thank you for coming. Okay. Jabi. Jabji. Jabji, here. Here. Jabji, here. Stay here, Jabji, because she's going to take a picture for you. Thank you. Samantha McNichol. Samantha. Eunice Olukolajo. Olukolajo, correct? Olukolajo. Emma Sanders. Lillian Williams. Kara Witcher. Is it Witcher? Thank you. Close enough, Kara, right? John Harding High School. You can go. Thank you. Give me one, two. If you are here from Elizabethtown High School, you're going to come to this wall. And if you're here from North Harding High School, you're going to come quietly through this wall, because now we're getting to bigger groups. Carly Atkinson. Do we have one? No. Carly. Kyle Davis. Go closer there, just in case. Sophia Green. Kennedy Hamilton. Tatiana Marchioni. Do you say it that way? In Italian, Marchioni, Tatiana. But in English, Marchioni. Okay? 1 second, it's just complicated here. Tatiana, thank you. Stay over here. Lilia Massey. Reese Moorman. Reese. Thank you. Grant Shearer. Mom and Dad, if you're here, you're welcome to come to the photo, but you can pick it up at the end, okay? Jocelyn Trejo Zetina. Jocelyn, I can say Trejo Zetina very well. That's my language. Macy Ward. Passion Wright. Elizabethtown High School. High achieving juniors from North Harding High School. And is Jamie here? You made it? Jamie Chitwood is the guidance counselor, school counselor for North Harding High School. Thank you, Jamie. Jayla Allen. Devin. Hey, Devin, is it Baba? Baba. You can go to the other corner, okay. Connor. Is it Broska? Connor. Jacob Chapman. Ashton Coppersmith. Let me see 1 second. Ashton, here. Okay. It is Crittenden. Tell me I heard your father when he pronounced the name before. Ramles. Remiles. Crittenden. You can stay here, Remiles. Thank you. Nydia Gayfield. Nydia. Nicholas Hake. Elijah Hussein. Elia. Elia Hussein. And I say Hussein correct, Elia?
Yes.
Thank you. Thomas Loxton. Lorenzo Morgan. Now, Lorenzo, you know that my name is Aris, but because I was born the day of San Lorenzo, August 10th, that's my Starbucks name. It's great. We love Lorenzo. We know how to spell it. And that was North Harding High School. You can go to your seats, please. Thank you. And now I have the students from Central High School. So if you come, because you're more, you can choose one side or the other, and then we'll line up you here. So you can choose either side, please. And while they line up, I would like to recognize the counselor of Central Harding, Whitney Carpenter. Whitney, thank you for coming. High achieving juniors from Central Harding High School, Noah Bennett. And we're going to line them up from here. Noah, you go back to the corner, okay? Thank you. Abigail Curl. Nicole Darvel Barreto. Did I say the right thing, Nicole?
Yes.
Thank you. Presley Decker. Christian De Los Santos. Christian, and then you go back to that corner, okay? Thank you. Andrew Diesel Camp. Adriana Embry. Adriana. Let's see here, Adriana. Presley Ferguson. Presley. Brianna Gwynn. Brianna, 1 second, Brianna. It's just the letters are together. Brianna. Adeline Johnson. Braxton Loeffler. Not here. Oh, yeah, Braxton is here. Braxton. And Kanan Loeffler. Thank you. Okay. Elena McNeil. Elena, you say Elena McNeil. Okay? You can go on the other side if you want. Emerson McNeely. Thank you. Preston Meredith. Preston. Thank you. Maddie Miller. Maddie, you're here. Thank you. Reagan Neal. Reagan, you're here. Thank you. Samuel Nilsson. Claire Nussbaumer. Okay, Claire, thank you. Elijah Potham. Is it Potham? Ilana Smith. Abigail Vandenberg. Garrett Webb. Thank you. Central Hardin High School. Thank you. Well, just a few words about home away from home, and then we'll be on our way home. If you think that during those 5 weeks you forget something at home, there is a post office that delivers. This past year, well, not this past year, but last year, in summer of 2022, the post office at Moorhead, in the city of Moorhead, called the campus director and said, Charlie, his name is Charlie, Charlie, there's something here that we are not going to be able to deliver, but you need to come and pick it up. It's for one of your students. Ladies and gentlemen, it was a refrigerator. Mom and dad, if what it takes for you to allow your child to go is to send a refrigerator, by all means, send it. We'll pick it up. You bring your truck at the end to take it back. There is, every week on each campus, we have supervised trips to the supermarket in case you need some things. You know, it's free of charge, but you sometimes, and you will not imagine how many students sign up for the supervised trips to the supermarket only for the pleasure of going to a supermarket. I don't understand that, but if that's what it likes, then they do. They do. And it's okay. Church. You can go to the church of your denomination. We make contact with those churches. Most of them are within walking distance, and you will be supervised by one of our staff members to go to the church. This year, I had a mother who called me and said, Mr. Cedeno, my son was accepted in engineering. In this past year, engineering was only placed on the Moorhead State campus. And she says, but the church of our denomination is not in Moorhead. Are you going to transport the student to Lexington? And I said, no, we switch. Oh, but we want engineering. And I said, look, talk to your son and see what's priority. While she was looking at her priorities, I went in the website and find out that her denomination had a church within walking distance from campus. And I said, is this your church? And she said, how did I miss that? So we have all denominations, and then we'll work with you to do. Medical circumstances. Some of you may have specific medical circumstances that mom and dad think today, well, we have had in 41 summers students from allergy shots, that's the simple thing, to one student came a few years ago having been diagnosed with cancer, and he spent the 5 weeks. We have had a student in my class years ago in the GSP was a quadriplegic, and I was trained to turn him in classes and things like that. So we'll make an effort to have every possible student. We'll work with you, but please understand that, you know, we are on a campus that is the host campus. That's not our own campus. So medical circumstances are there. Most likely, the calls from campus to home will decrease in the 5 weeks. But you, mom and dad, can go to our website during those 5 weeks and check what's happening there. One year, a father called me. I was the campus director one year, and the father calls and says, Aris, my son, Michael, is not called home in 10 days. What's going on? I'm coming to pick him up. And I said, no, wait. Tomorrow morning I have a meeting with them, and I will talk to Michael. So the next morning, I had all the 350 students on my campus in one auditorium, and I said, Michael, where are you? And Michael raised a hand thinking that the prize was right for him and said, just calm down to here. And I said, Michael, I have a question. With all the respect, this is not embarrassing anybody. I said, Michael, I have a question. Have you called home? And Michael said, yes, Aris, I have. But the line was busy. Michael was lying because there are no more lines busy. You can call. You can leave a message, you know. But I didn't embarrass Michael and said, you know that your dad is on his way here to pick you up to take home. I was lying now. Because I had talked to the dad regarding what was going to happen. So the dad was there waiting and said, you need to call your dad, Michael. He's on his way here. Oh, Reed, no, I don't want to go home. Well, call now. You don't have your cell phone with you? I'll lend you my cell phone. You need to dial that. But you're going to talk on the microphone. I want everybody to hear that. And so Michael said, and I said, you're going to tell your dad 3 things. Dad, I love you is number 3. Number 1 is going to be, Dad, apologize. Leaders like yourself need to apologize and move on. Number 2, you're going to tell Dad, I will not do it again. I'll call you more frequently. And number 3, you're going to say, Dad, I love you. And Michael said, can I say only 1 and 2? And I said, no. Because you are requesting number 3 not to be said, you're going to say it twice. And so Michael called Dad with my cell phone, and I said, he said, number 1, number 2, and then he says to me, do I really have to say I love you? And I said, 3 times. And Michael rushed to say, Dad, you know this, but I love you, I love you, I love you. Now, I make sure that when everybody clapped for Michael, that the dad listened to the applause. So, because, you know what happened? After that meeting, every single student sitting in there went to his or her room and called home. Because Michael was not the only one. Michael's father was the one that dared to call me. Now, young men and women understand 2 things here. You understand from that story that there are rules and regulations. And some of the rules are non-negotiables. In 41 years and more than 36,000 alums, we have never sent more, we have not sent home more than 20 for violations of the non-negotiables. Last time was 2016. No firearms, no drugs, no alcohol. You know, the common things, common sense, non-negotiables. there is a perimeter. You don't go free on the campus where you are assigned. There is a campus perimeter that you can walk through, and at night, that perimeter shrinks to the residential area. So we have about 50 members of the staff on each campus. And so there are other rules for the well-being of the community and the opportunities to grow. You will not like this, but I have to say that you cannot bring your little sister called computer. You will have access to computer on the campus where you are. But if you cannot really detach from your little sister called computer, then you have to make a choice, because the mission of the program will not permit for you to come and be hooked to a computer in your room. You need to be out and about participating in the number of activities that the program has. Many of those activities are choices. You choose this or you choose this. Now, you are considering, well, my little sister's fine, she can stay home. How about my little brother called cell phone? Your little brother is able to join you on campus, but will sleep a lot of hours in the dorm room. You will not be allowed to take it outside the dorm room. Keep in mind, number one, you need to talk to others about this rule. That's the rule that we don't get any complaints in those 5 weeks, because the students understand why once they are there. Talk to others about that rule. And so, if you finally cannot make a commitment to detach from your little brother, then you again make a choice. The Governor Scholars Program is not opposed to cell phones and computers. We are opposed to the fact that the next generation of leaders, and you are, and that's our mission, is letting cell phones and computers control your mind. And your mind is wonderful. The cell phones are sent to garbage when the numbers grow. Now you have 15, 16, 17, I don't know what numbers you have now in cell phones. And the other ones, the 7, 8, 9, where are they? Garbage. Same thing with the computers. When it doesn't work anymore, garbage. Do you do that with your brain? You don't. You don't. Because your brain grows and grows and absorbs more and more and more. And that's our mission. And that's why we have that rule. So I hope you understand and talk to others about that. 25 years ago, I would stand here 25 years ago and I would say, you cannot bring your TV. And now you all laugh about that because who cares? 25 years from now, I'll be here, but not me, somebody else will be here. We'll be here saying, you cannot bring who knows what, but the cell phones will be something of the past. And your brain is still growing. Remember that and talk to others about that rule. I know it's difficult, especially among us these days, but talk to others and make sure. So the GSP, free of charge, 75% funding from state appropriations, 25% funding from private donations. We are the largest in the nation. You won't believe that Kentucky is leading in governor schools in the nation. The next highest in numbers and days for GSP or programs like us is Georgia, much bigger than us, 660. And then Arkansas, 400. Then Missouri, 300. And then from there on, Louisiana, 50. North Dakota, 70. Tennessee has several pockets of program with 30 students in each group, 30. And New York, now charging tuition. Pennsylvania, no longer in existence. as they were before. Not free of charge anymore. Michigan, gone. South Carolina, gone. California, Florida, programs gone. 33 states back in 1993 had Governor Scholars Program or similar. And now, in few weeks, I will go to the national conference, and we only have 12. And Kentucky has remained steady, growing from 250 students to 1,050. And in addition to the GSP, you have the GSA. It's not under me, but Governor's School for the Arts and Governor's School for Entrepreneurs. So there are 3 programs benefiting all of you. And if you don't use the money, you know what will happen in Frankfurt. Somebody else will take it from us. So if I cannot demonstrate that I have enough students for this, and my commitment in my tenure that is coming to an end at the end of 1 year from now, I will be retiring in 1 year from now. My commitment to this program has been goal number 1, to have representation from all 120 counties of Kentucky. And we do it every year. We have enough spots to have, but how many of you will go depends on the quality of your application. Thank you so much. I hope that you all understand what we have given you the information today. If you have any questions, I'll be here, but you may all be blessed in your lives and endeavors as we continue in this wonderful, beautiful autumn in Kentucky. Thank you so much.